everybody, it's me, Vic. Today I wanted to talk about Twitch VODs, right? For the music tracks. So Twitch VOD has track 2 that you can enable on a lot of open broadcast software. And in this instance, I'm using OBS. Now, to do it, you would have to go into the settings. Unfortunately, I cannot show you those settings because I'm actually using my profile for a YouTube recording, but I can pull up the settings and show you where it would be at. Now, I do want to mention that the reason why I'm talking about this is because we're going to be talking about Aitum Multistream as well as Multiple Output, which is a multi-streaming tool that you can download and use for OBS. And we're going to get into that. So let's go ahead and hop over to my desktop and I will show you what I'm talking about in the settings aspect. So the first thing that you're going to want to do when you live stream, right, you're going to go to Output when you're setting up for your settings. And under streaming, there's going to be enable Twitch VOD. You're going to select it and it'll do, track 2. So once you do that and you select it, right, you would configure what you need to in settings and then you would start getting everything ready for OBS. Now in this case, I already have my OBS multi-streaming set up and I am using Aitum Vertical. I was trying out something else, but unfortunately I was getting sceneception out of it. So that's not something that I wanted to do a review or any content on until I know it's completely working in the way that it needs to work. So that way I'm not getting sceneception going on. Anyway, less about that, more about the audio, right? So as you can see, I have music playing, and just so that way you all can see, I have a literally just One Winged Angel playlist, right? So it's playing all of the songs here, which is really awesome, right? Like it's definitely a good playlist. But you see the music going here, right? So if you're wanting to stream, all of your streams go to track 1, right? Like all of your live streaming goes to track 1. I forgot to include one important step, which is after you add your music, you're going to want to right-click in Advanced Audio Properties. And from here, we're going to look where it says Music, right? So it needs to go to track 1, and you can uncheck all of the other tracks. It does not need to go to any other track except track 1. So if you're selecting track 2, or track 3, or track 4, 5, or 6 for whatever reason, granted I would only select track 2 for the VOD, the music won't go to that particular live stream, right? So keep that in mind as well, that you're always going to want to go to Advanced Audio Properties and make sure that you uncheck from track 2 through track 6, so that way it doesn't retain it in that particular VOD track. Well, let's go ahead and pop open Aitum Multistream. This thing right here, and you can find this in the dock, and it's going to say Aitum Multistream right here. Now, the reason why you want to enable this, you're going to go to settings, you're going to configure whatever you need for your multi-stream, right? These are the main canvas, this is your vertical canvas. Now, I do want to preface with something. Anytime that you do anything other than the Twitch being your main canvas, so if you're doing another one in horizontal, you have to manually start it. I don't know if it's a bug, I don't know if they're working on it, but it doesn't auto start like it does the vertical canvas. The vertical canvas automatically, it starts. So that's one little thing to keep in mind, right? But what we're really wanting to do when it comes to music, and if you need to add music, at least if you're using Wavelink, you can come here and you would add audio, output capture, and you would select whatever you have routed over to your music channel. And since I'm using the Wave XLR dock, I chose music and XLR dock, and that's where my music is going, right? And you would do the same thing for your vertical sources. So what you do in your main, you want to do in your vertical. And the reason why the camera isn't on in this one is because I have the camera on in my YouTube profile. And profiles are important for me when it comes to OBS or when it comes to content creation in general, because I can literally just toggle that and I don't have to reconfigure anything. But another topic for another day. Anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to the dock where it shows the Aitum Multistream, and we're going to go to settings. So on your main canvas, you can see my YouTube, right? If I go to output settings, it's going to show like my stream key encoder, all that, right? Because you configure it that way. But you're going to go to audio settings. Audio settings is important, and you would select from here track 2. Track 2 is the same as a Twitch VOD. So if you're streaming it's going to pick up track 2 for streaming, which means no music goes there, so you won't get hit with a DCMA strike. I tested it last night. I had a lot of fun testing this. I didn't just test it with this one though. I also tested it with multiple output, so both work. And then I changed the bitrate to 320 because it's what I have set up for all of my audio sources, and that was that. So same thing with the vertical canvas. You just go to the audio and you would go to track 2. So if you're streaming somewhere using, for example, Restream, which is an RTMP service, and in this case I labeled it TikTok, right? But I'm actually using Restream to stream to TikTok because it doesn't give you a direct key to go live with TikTok unless you reach a certain threshold, and even then you have to request it. And it changes, from what I understand, every session. So using Restream, there's no watermark, right? Like it's free, and it's a very, very easy way to live stream to TikTok if you meet the requirements. Anyways, you're gonna select track 2, which means they'll be able to see that you're playing music on Twitch and they'll hear it, but like your other platforms such as YouTube or TikTok or even Kick or, whatever you're setting up here in the Aitum Multistream, they'll be able to hear just the game, everything else minus your music. Now, I don't know in the future if these streaming platforms will have a specific VOD versus live, but because they save everything from the live, if you're wanting to stream music on Twitch, which for me, I feel like using music is taking away from the engagement and the actual immersive with the game and the actual game music, but that's just my perspective. But I did this solely just for making the content to let you all know it is possible to play music on Twitch and then live stream elsewhere without the music being included. And I loved that because I had so much fun testing it last night. I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't done this in a while, and I've been wanting to work on something like this, but I wanted to make sure that it was working and that I wasn't seeing any kind of flags before making the content. So this works whether you're doing it on Windows or even Mac. Just make sure that you're following this process. Now, this is just for the Aitum app, right? So we're gonna hit OK. Actually, I'm just going to hit cancel because I don't need to change anything. And usually you keep it docked here, right? So there's another one, and it's called Multiple Output. Oh, it wasn't supposed to dock up there. I don't want it to dock. Okay. So same thing here. I could go to Modify, right? It's going to tell you all of your stuff here. And then you're going to see here where it says VOD track, right? So audio settings. Reuse the stream settings as the encoder is OBS, which means that it will pick up the live track and it'll send it to YouTube. So that's not what we want, right? So we're actually going to go to right here on the encoder where it says FFmpeg AAC. And I'm doing this on Windows, just so you know. I don't know if multiple output works on Mac. I haven't checked that yet. So once I hop over to my Mac, I will probably put that in the notes in the description on the video. And then you would go here to Audio Mixer, you would select 2, and you would select your track as VOD track 2, and then you would change your bitrate to 320, and then you could start it in sync with OBS. You can start to do the stream and stop the stream at the same time that you go live. I love this because I know that it works, and I prefer to use multiple output as opposed to the Aitum just because it doesn't auto start the horizontal streams. But that's my only tool that I use, right? But it's possible in both of these applications to make sure that you're not live streaming music to other platforms when you go live if you are multi-streaming and you want to have music going to Twitch. I'm not sure about other platforms and if other platforms have different VODs, but to safe bet that you're not going to get hit with a DCMA copyright strike if you're wanting to stream music, this would be the ideal way to do it. I don't know in the future if Twitch is going to change anything when it comes to their VODs, right? I don't know if they're just going to have some kind of algorithm to flag down those particular songs or not. So I would say use your discernment, right? There are different things that are royalty free that don't get you hit with copyright strikes when it comes to certain music. So if that's something that you're looking at to play like some background music while you're gaming, while you're engaging with your viewers, that's something that you might want to also consider. What I do like is, and I'm going to shout out to a creator called Nutty. He created a stream, a widget, right? And this widget, it works with Spotify. There's one for Apple Music. There's one for YouTube Music. So if you're using that and you're listening to it, you can show your stream what you're listening to, not necessarily having to plug in the music. And that's really up to you if you want to do something like that, which I think is really cool. I wanted to feature it, but because I'm using another version of OBS, recording OBS, instead of creating OBSception here, it won't let me show you those particular configurations while I'm in use with another profile. So that's unfortunate, but it works like a dream. It's an amazing little plugin widget, or not really a plugin, but it's a widget, right? It's a like browser source that you configure it. He walks you through the step-by-step. So like shout out to Nutty on that. But yeah, I would say that this is the ideal way to go live and play music on one platform versus the others. And again, use your discernment and discretion when it comes to the selected music that you want to stream, because at any point it could change and they could say, yeah, no music at all, except for like the in-game music, or if like you're a DJ or something. So just keep those things in mind. Anyways, thank you for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day.